Bruh. Oh my god. Oh. This is some twisted shit. I got some bad news, yo. It looks like from Minori found somebody else, someone younger too, and who was pretty much a housewife to him. Yo is determined to talk to him today. Nothing will happen as long as she hesitates. It will only prolong her suffering. The time has come to show her courage once again. Oh no. Yo's fourth period on Thursdays is biology. This is her one chance to see from Minori. As a required course with many students, the lecture is held in a large hall that can seat well over 200. But since the room is usually only half full, it is rarely difficult for Yo to find the seat she wants. Aww, poor Yo. Ugh, if only she knew. When Minori is out the door the moment class ends, Yo barely manages to catch up to him before he disappears down the hallway. For Minori jerks at the sound of his name. You would think she just screamed at him. What? He turns to her and asks reluctantly. Now that they are face to face, Yo is painfully aware of how much weight Minori has lost. His sunken eyes or protruding cheekbones are a far cry from the features familiar to her. She wonders whether he's under a lot of stress or perhaps not getting enough nutrition. Maybe it's both. Yeah, he really doesn't want to eat all that much. He definitely looks more tense than he should, afraid even. Though of what she can't imagine, his eyes move relentlessly from point to point and he refuses to look Yo in the eye. It hurts to see from Minori this way. What could have changed him so? Today she reminds herself, rekindling the flame of courage in her heart. I want to talk to you about something. Do you have some time? In the courtyard is empty and silent. No one is willing to sit and chat in the cold November air. So what is it? Don't you remember? Yo almost blurts the question, but manages to keep her composure. You've been acting strange lately. I'm worried about you. Well, a lot's happened. He smiles like it's nothing, but even that seems forced. He's even standing precisely one pace farther away from her than he used to. Is that really all? What more do you want? Yo manages to keep from flinching at the harshness of his tone. It's like you're struggling with something. Rather than answer, Minori grinds his toe into the dead grass at his feet, fearing that her determination might flag. Yo lets the words come as they may. It's like there's a terrible weight on your shoulders and it's slowly breaking you. That's how you look to me. Oh really? Minori mutters through clenched teeth, no longer trying to deny it or change the topic. This is an even clearer signal of rejection than his prior evasiveness. But Yo's determination is strong. Today, at least, she won't back down. It's times like these, she implores, trying to convey the sincerity of her feelings for him, that you need your friends.
Ooh, I feel really bad about your parents. But you're not alone. You have Koji and Omi, and you have me.
Yo can no longer stop the words pouring from her lips. She fears that if she does not unleash her feelings now, they will be lost forever.
I think we can help you, so you don't have to deal with it all by yourself. Even if we can't do anything, just talking to us might make you feel better. I want to help you. We all do, so please, tell...
Stop it! Ooh, Minori shouts, silencing Yo's entreaty. Ooh. She promised herself that she wouldn't back down, but Fuminori's expression is terrible enough to shatter her resolve. The look in his eyes is not anger or any other warm-blooded emotion. It is hate. Murderously cold hate. Come to think of it, I never gave you an answer, did I? He remembers. He remembers them, and he still has treated her so coldly. That is all the answer she needs. And if his words stabbed any deeper, she might very well die. I never saw you in any special way before. When you asked me out, I wasn't sure how to respond. I didn't know how I really felt about you then, Fuminori. But now I can give you an answer. I've had plenty of time to think over, you know. I hate you, Tsukuba. I don't even want to look at you. Oh, shit. Damn, dude, that's fucking cold. I can't blame him. I can't blame him after what he sees. That sucks. Don't cry, Yo tells herself, but too late to stop the tears pouring from her eyes. I suppose it's too much to hope I never see you again. We do go to the same school. So just make this the last time you speak to me, okay? Your voice makes me sick. How can you be so cruel? Your whispers in the shock and despair. To which Fuminori twists his lips into a malevolent smile. You should really try thinking of yourself once in a while. I bet it was Koji and Omi's idea, wasn't it? Well, you can play at love all you want, but leave me out of it. That's all Yo can take. Even after shedding tears in front of him, she absolutely refuses to let him hear her cry, and any disgrace would be preferable to breaking down here. She runs, fleeing breathlessly from the courtyard, with Fuminori's cold smile at her back. Damn. That's heartbreaking. Omi was the first to catch sight of Yo and Fuminori leaving from the courtyard. Reluctant to interrupt them, but still unwilling to leave them alone, she and Koji ended up watching the whole thing from the shadows. That asshole. Throughout the exchange, Omi was clearly itching to jump out and punch Fuminori in the face. Knowing her temper, Koji firm hold of her arm until the end. If he hadn't, she might have very well have done it. Fuminori leaves after Yo, his every step seeming to take in an act of willpower. Koji sighs heavily into the once more empty courtyard, but the bitter taste in his mouth will not go away. What's wrong with him? Even Koji cannot forgive Fuminori's treatment of Yo. However, the first thing that he feels is confusion, not anger. Koji has known Fuminori since long before college. Fuminori was never this cruel before. There is no question now that the accident has changed him. Are you just gonna let this go? I don't want to, but what can we do? Something besides watch, Omi shouts, her face red with fury. I won't be satisfied until I give him a piece of my mind. That won't make Tsukuba feel better. But it'll make me feel better. Yo and Omi are best friends, just like Koji and Fuminori. In fact, it was their relationship between Koji and Omi that brought the other two together. Omi's anger is only natural. I'm going to talk to him alone. You don't have to come. You serious? She'll need someone to be nice to her after she's done crying. Wait, shouldn't we switch jobs? You know how I am. If I try to comfort her, I'll end up making it worse. Yeah, you got a point. Hey! Anyway, just go easy, okay? Ending the conversation before Omi's mood gets any worse, Koji heads off to find Yo. I feel awful, miserable, but also refreshed. I finally crossed the line. I knew it would come crashing down like this sooner or later, having become unable to feel anything but disgust for other people. There was no way I could hope to maintain the relationship I'd had before the accident. Today's incident will definitely get back to Koji and Omi, and everyone will be convinced I had a major change of character. Honestly, I don't care anymore. At least I probably won't be committed for this. I just need to avoid acting any stranger than I have already. If this puts a rift between me and the others, good. The thought of all the stress I'll avoid brings a smile to my lips. I'm fed up with them sticking their noses into my life. It's like they don't care that they make my gut turn just by being near me. Well, to be fair, they don't know, dude, so calm the fuck down. I've been terrified of them until now, but today, I struck fear into one of them. In that sense, it's something of a relief, but I'm not entirely without remorse of what happened. The person I just demolished with the verbal equivalent of a nuclear bomb used to be my friend Yo. Even if my senses don't believe it, my mind accepts the theory. I don't have any peculiar grudge against Yo herself, and I didn't want to hurt her. In retrospect, perhaps I should have just ignored her outright. Yo was an attractive girl. I certainly didn't think badly of her. To be honest, though, I was annoyed when Koji and Omi tried to stick us together. I felt like they were using us as entertainment, and Yo seemed totally oblivious to the fact that she was dancing to their tune. Her cluelessness was irritating. Still, I knew that none of them meant any harm. Back then, I didn't have any reason to hurt others just to get my way. If having a casual relationship with Yo would keep our circle of friends together, I was willing to make that compromise. Now, however, there is no room in my heart for such forbearance. Merely talking to someone is an ordeal. Then how can I be expected to show them kindness? These reminiscences have left me exhausted. I want to return to Seiya as soon as possible, but thinking about the packed trains and crowded downtown streets between here and home saps my spirit. Catching sight of a nearby bench, I sit down and close my eyes to the horrors of the world. I can't do anything about the stink or the noise, but at least I can calm my nerves enough to rest. Man. When I regained consciousness in the T University Hospital ward, the world was as dark as it is now. I had not yet recovered my sight, even though my eyes and optical nerves were undamaged. It must have been an after effect of the accident. Blindness was a shock, but now I know that my suffering was nothing. After all, my senses of hearing, touch, taste, and smell were all fine at the time. The real horror began when my sight returned. The one small mercy was that I was able to come to terms with the accident and my neurosurgery while still blind. I panicked when I first saw the nightmarish hospital and the blood-curdling shapes of the doctors and nurses, but I soon guessed the cause. It chills me to think of what might have happened if I had recovered my sight along with my consciousness. Suddenly awakening in what I can only be described as hell, I would have no doubt have lost my mind instantly. Soon my disorder spread to the senses of touch, taste, and smell. As it turns out, sight exerts tremendous influence over the other four. The taste of food, the feel of bed sheets, the fragrance of my get-well flowers all became unbearably foul as my eyes said they should be. Eventually, when even the doctors' voices became unrecognizable as human, I decided to kill myself. I didn't believe for a second that I could live in this new world. At least, not until I met Seiya. One night, while thinking of a painless way to die, I found myself succumbing to sleep, drifting between the nightmares in my dreams and the nightmare of reality. I didn't notice her enter my room. Oh, shit. The next thing I knew, there was a face staring down at me from next to my bed. The face was not covered in pus or slime, or earthworm-like feelers. It has smooth white cheeks, round eyes, a lovely little nose. All things I never expected to see again. The face was that of a girl, undeniably human and positively glowing with beauty. I sighed in irritation, savoring the first piece of joy since the regaining of my sight. She had not expected such a reaction, apparently. "Aren't you afraid of me?" she asked. Looking at the clock, I saw that it was exactly 3 in the morning. No time for a young girl to be alone in the hospital. Perhaps she expected me to mistake her for a ghost. Hold on. If he sees the world as godliness and sees her as human, then what would a person who's human and sees the world as it is see Seiya if she is real? How would they see her? Like, what is she? Is she actually like some type of puzzball? Or some type of demon? I really wonder. But I would not have cared if she had been a ghost. Either way, she was a godsend. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" "I'm Seiya. I'm looking for my dad." I assumed that she was the daughter of a late shift doctor or another patient. It was unusual, but not unthinkable for such a girl to be wandering around the hospital. It's no fun if you're not scared. "Wait," I cried, desperate to keep her from leaving. It was only after she turned around that I realized I hadn't thought of what to say next. "Well?" Her beautiful eyes drew me in, healing my soul to its core. Through the white haze clouding my mind, I struggled to form a coherent sentence. "I shouldn't do this to a girl, but you're the only one I can ask." No longer concerned with propriety, I let the words come as they willed. "Will you let me hold your hand?" Seiya looked confused at first, but then she smiled, like she just found a new toy. Her smile was brighter than my memories of the sun. "You're strange," she said, holding out her slender white hand. "No one asked me anything like that before." Ever so carefully, as though catching snowflakes, I placed my palm against hers. I could feel human warmth in the softness of her delicate fingers. She was there, just beyond the palm of my hand. Thinking back on the joyful tears I shed then, I know that this is the moment I was saved from my fate. This is my first time in weeks that I've touched someone and felt them as human. I can't touch anyone else. I was in an accident and a side effect of the surgery. I can't see people as human anymore. How mysterious. "You're interesting," she said, winding her fingers gently around mine. "Can I come back tomorrow night?" "Yes, of course, but are you sure it's okay?" "Don't worry," she replied. "The night belongs to me." Oh. And so our rendezvous began. Seiya came to my room every night at 3 a.m., carefully taking advantage of the duties nurse shifts change. I was astonished to learn that she was living us inside the hospital. "It's so big that I never run out of the places to hide," she said, answering my surprise with a nonchalant smile. She had been living in the suburbs with her father, she told me, until one day he'd suddenly stopped coming home. After she got tired of waiting, Seiya had decided one night to sneak into the hospital where he'd worked, and there she lived for over 2 months searching for his whereabouts all the while. "Don't you have to go to school?" "No, Dad taught me everything I need to know. I'm really smart." She was a strange girl. On one hand, she looked and acted like a child. On the other, she was remarkably self-reliant, and at times exhibited a sharp intelligence and deep knowledge that many may have found unsettling. I didn't care. Seiya was the only other human in a world gone mad. Her existence meant far more to me than the standards of society. "Aren't you worried you might get caught?" "Nope. I don't have to worry about food here, and it's a lot more fun than staying in Dad's house by myself." I looked through the patients list and found the ones who have mental problems. Saya continued, grinning mischievously. Sometimes I sneak into their rooms late at night and scare them. Even if they raise a fuss, no one believes what mental patients say. They just brush it off as bad as a dream. That's horrible. You're twisted. You have a twisted sense of humor. Her confession reminded me that the hospital was famous for its ghost stories. Who could have imagined that there was actually a real girl imperiously roaming these hallways? So that's why you came to my room the first time? Yeah, sorry. Are you mad? While her pranks were hardly praiseworthy, I couldn't bring myself to scold her for the very thing that had brought us together. You shouldn't do it anymore. Will you come talk to me instead? Yeah, that's more fun for me too. Oh shit. With extreme care, I was able to conceal my sensory disorder. It was glaringly obvious that the doctors had no way to cure me, and the fact that I had undergone a still experimental procedure made me even more cautious. As a medical student, it was easy for me to imagine how the doctors would react if they discovered that I was exhibiting such unusual side effects. I was not about to become a guinea pig or a mere specimen to be examined with clinical detachment, and so I hid my discomfort and loathing behind a mask of normalcy, convincing the doctors that any signs of stress were merely a result of hospitalization. Saya was my support. Looking forward to her nightly visits gave me the strength to endure my daily torture. Hope can make an enormous difference in a patient's progress. With the aid of my secret nurse, I recovered at a pace that left the doctors stunned. On the last night before my release, I summoned my courage and asked her, "Are you going to stay here forever?" Yeah, I couldn't learn anything about my dad, but it's not like I have anywhere else to go. I guess I'll stay as long as I can hide. In other words, there was nothing keeping her there. Why not stay with me? I asked timidly. The question took all the courage I had. Huh? My family's gone, so I have plenty of room. You won't need to hide, and it's not a bad place to live. You want me to live with you? I was too afraid to ask her what she thought of that, so I hesitantly offered a deal. In exchange, I'll help you look for your father. I'll find him no matter what. I think that's gonna be hard, Saya said, looking a little embarrassed. Dad probably did something bad and had to leave the hospital. We can't get the police involved. You'll have to be as discreet as possible. I'll do whatever it takes. Unable to control myself, I finally spoke the truth. I can't be apart from you. At first she looked bewildered, but after a few moments of silence she said, "Give me a little time." That night she left my room earlier than usual. On the day of my release, I managed to smile as I accepted the hideous, foul-smelling celebratory banquet. The flesh beasts, calling themselves Koji, Omi, and Yo, came to pick me up. Though they had come to see me many times during my stay, it never got easier to see my friends change so horribly. My sudden tears of despair drew suspicion, but I managed to explain them away as tears of joy. While we walked to Koji's car, I looked desperately for Saya amid the grotesque scenery. Even as we drove away, I kept watching the hospital fade into distance, praying for a glimmer of hope. But Saya never appeared. After Koji and the others dropped me off, I paused a while to regard my surroundings. I had lived my entire life on this block and in this house. There was no other place that I could call home. But nothing was as I remembered. As I walked up the path to the front door and took in the yard where I had spent my childhood, I could feel those memories being defiled by the twisted, festering shapes around me. Inside the house, I found nothing familiar, nothing to offer comfort and warmth. What I had once called home was now a whole other world. I have no home, I whispered with a smile of self-pity. There was one last stop to make, one last nail to hammer into my coffin. I stepped into the room that had cradled me from my childhood. The walls were prepared with human entrails, and the bed and tangled mass of warm flesh. But none of that mattered. There, curled up on the bed like an abandoned cat, was Saya. As I stood there in shock, she looked up at me and in tiny, weak voice said, "Can I really stay?" As I responded by sweeping her into my arms, embracing her tightly so that she would not escape. Saya did not resist.
I count blessings, not my ills. I stay focused, I don't dwell. I see time is all my wealth. All these angels watch my health. I stay bout I'm not pouting. Break through walls and climbing mountains. If you want it, scream it louder. Show this world what they've been